It's definitely a combination of the three of our strengths, I would say. Like, it's just nice to have three perspectives in a room to create something dynamic.
That we're very different people. I think that's what makes the group work. If we were all the same, then we'd be butting heads on what should be different. But there's a different outlook from everything, so it's like always like we have to find the center point.
My name is Hollis, wong-wear, and I'm the lead singer of the Flavr Blue.
What's up? I'm Parker, and I'm a jack of all trades in the Flavr Blue.
What's going on? Lace Cadence of the Flavr Blue.
Hey, we're the Flavr Blue, and you're watching Band in Seattle.
This trio of electro-pop producers brings the beat, the moves, and the bounce. It's the Flavr Blue. Uncover the music that moves you.
Don't wanna get too deep, too soon, too real full moon. But I don't need a dozen roses. I just want you closest in the late night, in the prime time, like a fine wine. I'll be dreaming.
We were talking about synesthesia, like seeing a color when you hear sound, and just finding a way to blend up senses. And then one of our friends that was in the room just threw it out, and he was like, Flavr Blue, and it just hit us kind of immediately. We were like, whoa, it made us feel the way we wanted people to feel when they heard it, and that was all we needed.
You never can name yourself, it's just stupid. So when someone gives you something that feels good, you gotta take it. We didn't have no intention on making a band, so like I feel like that's the best way to make a band is when you don't have any intention to make a band. There's no like preconceived stuff. It's just like, oh, we're all friends, like let's just do this. And it translates into music. We actually, I feel like we took a kind of a different route than most bands. We worked on music for like a year and a half before we performed. Performing is so important to the overall scheme of things that we didn't want to like jump into that, because we were also dabbling in stuff that we had never done before, like electronically. So we took a long time like fine-tuning the music and like rehearsing the sets way before we did it. So probably about a year and a half into it.
1, 2, 3, let's go!
Flavr Blue started as Parker and Lace Cadence, the two of them together. And they started producing music, and then they were working in a studio in a townhouse that my boyfriend lived in as well. And so I was just kind of like loitering often by the studio and giving my unsolicited advice on certain tracks that they had. So they actually invited me into the studio to kind of feature on a Flavr Blue song. Like, it was such a great time. It was just like a really perfect meeting of the minds experiences, and we left feeling like really great about it.
It was really because it wasn't like the first thing any of us did. Like, we all had groups and bands and other stuff before that if you went to listen to those things, you'd probably more easily like pinpoint them as something. So by the time we got to Flavr Blue, we were all as individuals like interested in so many different things and pulling from so many different genres that, you know, our commonality was that we just wanted to synthesize those things and blend it together. And we all wanted to do that at the same time. Like, I was tired of producing solely for rap because you had to create a certain space in the beat that, you know, a vocalist would always feel the same exact way, and it just kind of felt stale to me.
All I want is good vibration.
fit together like a Cuban link. Gold around my neck, I put you on it, on again.
Okay.
Rising when we falling, it's just you and me. Dripping stardust on the windows, cause we feeling too nice. In this twilight, ain't nothing special, but it's so right. You and I might run it back twice.
It was fated for sure. I mean, it's just one of those like right place, right time things. And I think for me, like I had been rapping and I was feeling kind of a similar, not even like discontentedness per se, but more of just kind of like a yearning to work in different mediums and to explore and experiment in music. I think rap can get a little redundant at a certain point, and it's hard for it to feel fresh, for us particularly as lyricists and MCs. And you know, I had been shaping my vocals over the, ever since I started in choir at the age of 5. So it was kind of like I had this instrument that I hadn't necessarily tapped into before that I was excited to explore. So by working with the guys as producers and for the three of us as songwriters and performers to come together, it was just a really like dynamic combination that felt really inspiring.
In all of the things that you read and all of the things that they say, you get reprimanded for making.
Hollis is like a Swiss Army knife. She really draws power from so many different places and makes it look so natural. The wheels are always turning in there, you know what I mean? And you can kind of tell. And I draw a lot of inspiration from that, it's a powerful thing.
Got skyscrapers staring 'cause I'm going up. 700 floors ain't high enough. I'm talking penthouse in the ozone. Take a space shuttle to my front door. Gotta keep it lofty when there's trouble down below. If you're in a battle, got a place for you to go. Where the bass rattles the ceiling and we pour it out slow.
Say what?
Pour it out slow. Celebrate together, 'cause nothing is for sure. Forget about tomorrow or tally in the score. Did you get the memo? We elevate our tempo.
Are you guys ready to get bouncing?
And we pour it
let's all bounce a
out
little bit.
slow.
Top down when I ride, I'm on sideways at every bag. I'ma meet you at the liquor store.
Anytime you feel like you need to let the top down in the convertible of your mind, we kind of want this to be kind of a jolt of sonic sunshine.
Chopping up the flow like I'm in a dojo. Snapping on the beat like I took a photo. I was sitting low in a clean photo. When I'm talking on the phone, floating in the ozone. Baby girl with a love that. With a boat, with a green, with a above that. Yeah. Ice cold, you a Kodak. Looking bad, look at me, looking all that. I like you straight, no chaser. Just molecules, no makeup. I lay down when you wake up. Gotta get my daily news, yeah, that's paper. And I ain't taking no pay cut. I need astronomical layups. I need front page of the fader. I need real homies, not fake ones. Backseat chillin' with a bad little feeling like yeah. Cause baby wanna roll with me everywhere I go like yeah. Catch me flying through the atmosphere like yeah.
Make it count one more time.
While we playing this song like
Top down when I ride.
Hollis is like a Swiss Army knife. She really draws power from so many different places and makes it look so natural. And like it's about what she's inspired by intellectually, emotionally, what her friendships are like. She very much reflects who she is in the music that she's making and writing in a natural way that the wheels are always turning in there, you know what I mean? And you can kind of tell. And I draw a lot of inspiration from that, it's a powerful thing.
We were working on the first album, and Parker's roommate, DJ 100 Proof, who's a great fellow, shout out to 100 Proof, his girlfriend is Hollis. So during the whole process of me and Parker working, Hollis would just be around watching movies and hanging out with Jeff, and she would always like poke her head like, what are you guys doing? Because it was so far from the normal stuff we used to do. And she was like, just let me get on one. We were like, of course, just come sing on one and see what happens. And that ended up being a song called In My Dream, which is like one of our first songs we put out. And then after that, we were just like, this is pretty clear, this needs to continue to happen. Girlfriend of the roommate of the guy I'm hanging out with, yeah. Can't make that up.
So "Cause I Wanna" is just a song about being unapologetically yourself. And, you know, I wrote it, I think oftentimes, especially for women, there's so many ways in which we're told like who to be and how to be and what not to be. And I think this song, for me, was really kind of my personal mission statement about saying I'm gonna do whatever I want, how I wanna do it, and that's what makes me powerful, and that's what gives me leverage, and that's what gives me agency in this world, and not conforming to what other people want from me.
Energy, you're been surrounding, yeah. I hit the stage and they holler for Holly. I got my family and that's all I need, yeah, yeah. I dance how I wanna, move like I wanna win 'cause I want it. That's why I'm stunning, stunning. You gotta want it, you gotta want it, you wanna run it. That's why I'm in it to win it, I'm in it to win it, not in it to fall. I had to let go my pride. Some people stress about having it all when they ain't got nothing inside. Gassing me up, I'm bubbling. Pour up the vino, let's get crazy. I don't let up for nothing. Call it the keynote if you feel me, hey.
I think I had performed music that was not of my perspective and then written poetry that was entirely my perspective. So writing my own original music felt really daunting. Like, I didn't necessarily feel like I had the skills to do it. But ultimately, you know, I love music so much, and music has, you know, like, soothed me and healed me in so many ways, and I really believe in the intrinsic power of music to, you know, change us as people and to change us as society. So my deep desire to find a way to channel my perspective into music just ultimately kind of took over from any kind of anxiety or concern that I had that I didn't have the skills to do it.
No, no, I say what I wanna, do what I wanna win 'cause I want it. That's why I'm stunning, stunning. You gotta want it, you gotta want it, you wanna run it. That's why I'm in it to win it.
When I was in high school, I discovered a love for poetry, and specifically for spoken word poetry. So kind of bringing poetry to the stage, performing it, just me and a microphone. We were really using poetry to process where we were in our lives. You know, being a teenager is like always a pretty like angsty, fraught experience, no matter what generation you're a part of. Using art to understand myself, understand the world, and to listen to the perspectives of others that I might not otherwise know, in order to better inform how I can better be in the world.
Slice you like confetti,
Hey.
you rusty like a penny, and you dusty Serengeti.
What?
Walk, Fetty.
Hey,
I'm learning to be petty. Coulda aired out hella suckers, but my manners wouldn't let me. But it's 2018, and there's Nazis in the White House.
I was in speech therapy from first grade to like 7th grade when I got discharged from speech therapy because I was uncurable. And I do believe, like, I think, you know, if I were to do the full audit of my experience growing up, I do think that like lack of belief in myself as a potential like professional entertainer and somebody who could make a career in music, I think did stem from this kind of inherent insecurity in the way that I spoke. This isn't gonna change, so I can either be completely impeded by it and choose not to speak, or I could just speak with the way that with the voice that I have and the tongue that I have. At the end of the day, it's like I was given the voice that I was given by the fates, and I could either feel silenced by it, or I could choose to speak out with the way that it is.
Getting up the pasta, trying to keep me quiet, but you know it's gonna cost ya. 'Cause I cook 'em proper, redder than a lobster. Gourmet babe, but my mama was a mobster.
You wanna weaponize this? Gonna show you these hands. Gonna take all these streets.
Gonna show you who's man. I'm ready to tempt my fate.
It's the way all of us are we really care about each other outside of this helps it like not be too stressful ever, or not be like too much like a job, even though it is for all of us. It's just like, we just want to be around each other because we're friends first.
When we return, uncover more about the Flavr Blue.
We Can Go Blind is almost like a band we like almost became. You always have these moments, even in your own life, where you feel like, I could have gone down that path and that could be me, and I wouldn't even be cool with it. That would be awesome. But that's not what happened. So here we are now, you know, whatever, we turned a different corner.
You found me in cold waves, fell overboard, riptide pulled away. I found you when you saved me. I'll follow you underground, babe. I'll follow till the sun goes down, grows cold and turns to stone. Where I'll give up everything
Parker Joe is from Seattle. He was in a rap group called State of the Artist. Just like a more techie human. Like he built his computer, he built a Hackintosh. Like, I would never do that, he did that. Yeah, he's kind of like the architect in a certain sense. Like he is kind of the engine that makes the show run.
He's one of my dearest friends. Yeah, like outside of music. It's the way all of us are we really care about each other outside of this helps it like not be too stressful ever or not be like too much like a job, even though it is for all of us. It's just like, we just want to be around each other because we're friends first.
I'm ready to tempt my fate. Ooh, into the darkness of my heart.
Musically, I feel like we're so different that we are able to like acknowledge that about each other, and then when we meet in the middle, it's like the perfect thing because he's always adding stuff that I would never have thought of and vice versa. And he's very like savvy on the technical side of stuff, so I'm able to like say, Parker, I need a bell with like some reverb twinkling off, and he'll like find it. It'll take me 2 hours to do that. So like he enables me to like have my ideas, like I can just say my ideas to him and he'll help me like make them real.
In Flavr Blue in Seattle, like, there really wasn't anyone in Seattle doing like house music, blending it with pop and R&B and or really trap music. You know, I think it's just about, we want to like unfold this origami piece that is the Flavr Blue and see where it's going, like what's inside there, and it just never stops shedding layers, you know, becoming like more of a pure, you know, momentum and power.
If I wanna make you move with it, I could break it back down. If I wanna make you groove with it, I could break it back down. I can show you how to move with it. I can show you how to groove with it.
We're gonna in a second.
You make me wanna say ooh with it. 'Cause baby, you know what to do with it. Hey, see me take 2 steps to the left and slide to the right real cool with another left. Then I seen you just clap 2 times. Spin around and act a fool, my man. Hey, got a party going up, everybody.
Lace I met because before I even met him, I saw him in a music video for his band Clockwork, a rap group here in Seattle that got signed to DreamWorks Records, and he actually got signed to a major label at the time and lived in Los Angeles creating like an album that ultimately got shelved kind of in that like era where a ton of major labels were folding.
That was a crazy experience at a young age. It's kind of a sad story, but I feel like I wouldn't be here if it didn't happen. But the record got shelved because they were spending so much money trying to get us to finish the record. And then in that process, the whole like urban department kind of crumbled because they had no money. So then they just dropped everybody and like let us go. But we didn't get shelved. We made some money and I learned a lot of stuff. So came back home after that and kind of started to dabble in my own thing for a while.
I met Isaac when I was like 15 or something like that. I was just like a kid in West Seattle that had a recording studio set up, and him and like a few other guys they were a few years older than me. They were already doing their music thing. They were like flashy with it, and they all had style. And it was like, those are the guys I looked up to. He just vibed right away. He's like I think his name legit means laughter, and like he brings that to every scenario.
Breaking up a new sound.
Hey,
Open up like a gun with it. Baby, give me that crown.
give her that crown.
I'm not talking all slick with it.
Slick with it.
Twist it up and get lit with
Get
it.
lit with it.
2 scoops ice cream with it.
Hey.
If you know what I mean.
got it.
I'm like, let's get real
I'ma
low
get
with
down
this
here with
bitch,
y'all.
huh? Here we go, get low.
Get low. Get low. Wait for it. Wait for it.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
I think for me as an artist, like I am just really inspired to create music that's meaningful, and I am so thankful for this band to have kind of given me a platform to explore my songwriting in a way that I had never really given myself the opportunity to do before. And it's kind of like the intersection of, you know, being a musician and then also coming from that poetry background where I was working with young poets, helping them kind of discover their voice. I love the idea of making a career doing that as in pop music, and helping facilitate kind of the next generation of stars and the next pop hits that'll be on the radio. Like, I love the idea of having a hand in that, not only to help people express their perspective, but also to kind of just push society a little further on the airwaves. So.
To uncover more of the music that moved you tonight, go to bandinseattle.com where you can find out more about the Flavr Blue and watch their full concert.